Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's installment of Expert Insight series with Estate Living. So we are very excited today to bring you the news that Mauritius is open for business and leisure and lifestyle and leisure. And today we have brought together a very interesting panel that is going to discuss with us the opportunities that sit within Mauritius, and some amendments or a new budget that has been released that will be gazetted soon, but is released to us today ahead of the news. So we're very excited about that. Before we get going, let's just quickly run through a little bit of housekeeping. I'm sure most of you have been on one of our webinars before or a webinar before, but just in case, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there's a little box that says chat. So if you click on that chat box, a chat screen will open in the webinar, and there you'll be able to post any of your questions that you might have. Now, this is a 45-minute webinar session, so the time goes really, really quickly. However, we've invited today, behind the panelists are their team of experts that they work with that are here and willing to answer those questions. So anything that doesn't get tackled directly by the panelists during the course of this webinar will be tackled by the team sitting on the back end. So you can get your questions answered, which is why we're here. Absolutely. So to keep with our time, we are going to get the ball rolling. Sorry, I forgot. This is like my first rodeo. We will also be running a few polls throughout the course of the morning. So what those poll questions, and one has come up on your screen now, if you can answer the poll question and then just click on the red button on the left-hand side and that will move away. The polls are there just to find out a little bit more about who you are, to find out what you're looking for so that we can deliver the right kind of information to you on a regular basis. So today we've invited the Economic Development Board. Sachin is with us and he's going to be running through a bit of an overview of what's happening in Mauritius and of course the new budget that's being released. We've invited Rinie from Two Futures. She's going to discuss opportunities within Mauritius that fit in line with the various visas, permits, long stay visas, what it is that you're looking from a property perspective. And then of course, nothing is without the banking fraternity. So what's happening with regards to setting up bank accounts, what opportunities are there with financing properties, how do I set up my business? So we're very excited to have Reshma and Neelam here with us from SBM Bank Private Wealth, and they're going to be discussing a little bit more about those processes. We are going to keep the webinar moving forward to allow ourselves some time for some additional questions at the end of the webinar. Questions have been sent to me this week, and also I'm sure a few burning issues that will come up during the course of the morning. So again, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. If you could address them to both the panelists and the attendees, then we'll be able to answer them. And then just to round it up, this webinar is recorded and the recording will be shared with you if you're not, if you would like to share it on with your family members in the next sort of 24 to 48 hours. So Sachin, let's get going. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Louise. It is with great pleasure that I am among you for this webinar today. Indeed, as you said, Mauritius is open for business and for investment and trade. The borders in Mauritius opened from last Thursday, and clear protocols have been established for visitors, for tourists, for investors, and anyone traveling to Mauritius. Yes, this is a time for you to consider coming to Mauritius, where you can invest, you can expand your business activities, You can acquire a second home, you can invest in a luxury property, or you can retire in Mauritius. As you know, Mauritius has always been known as a tourist destination with its wide beaches, high-class resorts, hotel. However, in the last decade, the island has been recognized as a well-regulated international financial center, attracting major banks, multinational corporations, fund managers, high net worth individuals who have been investing and acquiring luxurious residential properties, itself being an attractive or lucrative asset class. The Mauritian government is promoting openness, as it has been announced in the last budget in June 2021 in Mauritius. The government wants to attract more foreign investors, more talents, know-how, and retirees. Actually, in the last budget, government announced that Mauritius is targeting 50,000 retirees to whom residence permit will be provided. So if you want to invest, work, live, retire in Mauritius, occupation permits, residence permit, permanent residence permit, we have the young professional occupation permit or grant that allow you to reside and work in Mauritius. These permits are for a period of 10 years. Previously, it was 3 years. Today, these permits are being provided outright 10 years in case of occupation permit or residence permit, and 20 years in case of permanent residence permits. And if you are a digital nomad, you want to work in Mauritius, but for your home-based company, you want to come in Mauritius as a retiree and stay for more than 6 months, you can come here and ask for a premium visa. Next. So next slide, please. So where Mauritius is located. So the island of Mauritius is located strategically in the Indian Ocean, midway between the developing continent of Asia, Africa, and Australia. Mauritius is a global nation, home to multi-ethnic and multicultural population of 1.3 million people. It's one of the places with the oldest civilization, namely from India, from China, from Africa, and Europe. It's a democratic country based on the Westminster model of the United Kingdom. Mauritius has a sophisticated and highly successful free market economy. The country has built a solid reputation as an investment platform. In terms of the financial platform for foreign investors and companies to relocate, it's a place for you to come with solid economic foundation. In a nutshell, we can say that Mauritius can be regarded as a country with a low tax jurisdiction, with a low corporate tax and personal taxes, business-friendly regulation, a stable democracy, a country that is pleasant to live in, with excellent telecommunication and good health and education facilities. It offers safe, secure, and predictable environment. Next slide, please. It's a great place for someone to come to live with future-ready infrastructure, global connectivity, and world-class talent. Next. Mauritius is also a diversified economy with not only tourism as a main activity. Next. So why you need to consider Mauritius in terms of investment opportunities is just because we are not just a country providing one or two sectors, but there are multiple sectors where we can come and invest, be it in ICT or media, in knowledge, in tertiary education, manufacturing or light processing, be it in textile, fashion, in free port, logistics, supply chain, in seafood or marine industry, in retirement or senior living, in property development. So you have several sectors where you can come. And today with the pharmaceutical and biotechnology, a number of incentives are being provided that have been announced in the last budget speech, where government is providing a number of incentives under two investment certificates that will be issued when the Finance Act is enacted. These are the investment certificate providing the 8-year tax holiday to investors. And then you have the premium investor certificate where you can come present your project to ADB and negotiate with government, with ADB, to obtain a package of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, mainly based on land or buildings, on fees, on taxation, or on employment or asking for work permit or occupation permit. And for this project, if it is in pharmaceutical and medical devices, you can come and negotiate for those incentives. Or if it is for any other business activity, that business activity, the minimum investment should be more than 500 million rupees for you to qualify and ask for a package of fiscal incentive negotiated with EDB and government. Next, in terms of the international benchmark, today Mauritius owns a highly valued image in terms of brand equity, which has been built over the past years. It has forged a solid reputation in terms of ethics, good governance, economic and political freedom, economic stability. The government has implemented a series of measures in the past years to streamline, make it easier for businesses to obtain permits or licenses, creating an appropriate framework to allow investment by foreigners, by non-citizens. I would again reiterate that the attractiveness of Mauritius lies in the fact that Mauritius has a multicultural, multilingual population, a stable political, social environment, a strong compliance and regulatory framework in line with international practices. In terms of the World Bank doing business, Mauritius ranks at the 30th position worldwide. And we are continuously improving the business environment. And these are consequences of a multi-pronged approach in addressing both administrative and legislative impediments to doing business. In terms of business environment, next slide, there are, in terms of tax advantages, which are important to investors, there are a number of incentives that are provided, like the 8-year tax holiday. But in terms of taxation, Mauritius has a harmonized tax system. The income tax, the corporate tax, the value-added tax are at 15%. Exemptions, as I said, are provided to a number of economic activities, granted investment certificate or premium investor certificate, to innovative activities, to smart cities, among others. There is no exchange control in Mauritius, and the principle of free movement of capital is acquired. It is therefore possible for you to send home funds, invested profits or capital gains or dividends outside the country without any restriction or particular formality. With respect to taxes, there are no taxes on dividends, no taxes on capital gains, there are no wealth tax. There is no inheritance taxes or direct taxes for descendants. There is no property tax, no housing tax. There are only real estate tax when you acquire an immovable property or a house or an apartment. It's 5%, which is levied at the rate of 5% on the value of the property. You can incorporate a company very quickly. 100% foreign ownership is also allowed. In terms of the judicial system, next slide, and the legislative framework, Mauritius has a hybrid legal system combining both civil and common law practices. During the period of the French rule, the island had a legal system based on the French Code Napoleon, which today we call it the Mauritian Civil Code. And subsequently, when the British came, they came up with the common law system. So we have the private law largely based on the civil code, and the public and administrative laws draws essentially from English common law system. Mauritius is a republic and a member of the Commonwealth, and the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London has been preserved as the country's ultimate court of appeal. Next slide, please. So in terms of the banking system, before coming to the work, live and play in Mauritius, the banking system in Mauritius, we have 20 banks, of which 5 local banks, we have 9 foreign-owned subsidiaries, and the banks offer specialized services such as fund administration, custodial services, trusteeship, structured lending, investment banking, private client, and international banks offer a wide range of global banking and financial services to corporate, institutional, and private clients. In terms of family offices, the 5-year tax holiday that was being provided since the last budget, this has been extended for 10 years for SFOs. In terms of how you can come, reside, obtain residency in Mauritius, next slide. Actually, there are 5 ways you can come to Mauritius and obtain residency. The first I will call residency by acquisition or residency by investment. Residency by acquisition, so if you acquire a property under approved scheme, and the approved scheme here I'm talking about the integrated resort scheme, the real estate scheme, the property development scheme, the smart city scheme, you can obtain residency in Mauritius. A number of projects are being implemented under these schemes, and all these projects are developed under a specific legal framework. And the projects have to be accompanied by all the facilities, be it marina, be it commercial facilities, leisure amenities, and day-to-day management services like maintenance, security, or gardening. And all these projects, what they're offering, high-end luxury villas, apartment, townhouses, residential units that are developed by companies whose projects have been approved by the ADB. And these projects are managed by owners once they have been developed under a regime of co-ownership. And as I said, once you acquire a residential property, it could be on the basis of a plan. The moment you sign your title deed, you're eligible to obtain a residence permit once the investment is above 370,000 USD. And a residence permit is granted to the owner of the property, his or his spouse, and dependents below the age of 24. And in the last budget, even this has been, the age of 24 will be reviewed. So any dependent, provided that the children are dependent, they will be provided with a residence permit. Several stunning projects are being developed on the island. I think it's time for you to consider acquiring these units. And also another scheme, but it's not approved by the ADB, but you can go anywhere in Mauritius. You may acquire an apartment located in a ground plus 2 building. These projects are not approved, but when you intend to acquire those properties, you just submit your application to the ADB, and we provide an approval if the minimum price for the acquisition is above USD 145,000. So the property has to be a ground plus 2 building, investment above 145,000 USD. And in the last budgeted speech, it has been announced that those acquiring an apartment for a price exceeding 375,000 USD, these individuals, these non-citizens, will be granted with a residence permit, and this residence permit remain in force for so long as the non-citizen remain holder of the apartment. Same for iOS, OES, or smart cities. You can acquire these properties off plan based on the legal framework. On acquisition, you will be provided full title to the property, which is freehold. You will remain owner of the property for so long as it is not sold, and the title deed is registered with the government of Mauritius. You're provided with your PIN number. The title deed is prepared by a notary public in Mauritius, and on registration of a deed, there is only one-time payment of a registration duty, which is 5% payable on the value of the property. A property may be acquired under any legal structure. You may acquire it under your own name, or it could be a special purpose vehicle, be it a company, a trust, a foundation, or a limited partnership. A smart city scheme. You may also acquire property under the smart city scheme. Various smart city projects are being developed all over the island, and they offer possibility for a non-citizen to stay in those newly built environments. These smart cities provide innovative solutions aimed at making life more efficient, integrated, sustainable, and offer a work, live, and play environment. Under the smart cities, as a non-citizen, you may acquire a residential property or a property for a business activity. On acquisition of a residential property for more than 375,000 USD, again, you're provided with a residence permit. And what has been announced in the last budget speech, actually the budget speech of 2020, if you are a resident in Mauritius, you have obtained an occupation permit, a residence permit, or permanent residence permit, you're provided with an additional possibility of acquiring an additional plot of land or service plot of land where you can go and build your own residential property. That possibility, so it means you can go in a smart city and buy a land. And once you acquire a land, you have a period of 5 years to build your own house based, obviously, in an approved framework and architectural guideline that has been worked out by the vendor, just to ensure harmony in the development. However, this measure of acquiring a plot of service land within a smart city is open up to 30th of June 2024. So if you are a resident in Mauritius, you have a residence permit, you can acquire a service plot of land and you can build your own house. Next slide, please. The other option for you to obtain residency in Mauritius is by retirement. So if you are above the age of 50, you can consider applying for a residence permit as a retired non-citizen. And in the last budget speech, the government of Mauritius has announced a program to attract some 50,000 retirees in the next 12 months. Therefore, we are welcoming and providing incentives to non-citizens who want to retire and live in Mauritius. It is very simple to get your residence permit. If you are above 50 years and commit to transfer at least 1,500 USD per month, you will be given a residence permit as a retired non-citizen for a period of 10 years. And your dependents also may accompany you. They also will be provided with a residence permit of 10 years. You may acquire a property, you may rent a property, you may go and acquire a property in those smart cities, and various properties also being developed dedicated for seniors, senior living residences. The other option would be the occupation permit. Next slide. The occupation permit is provided to 3 categories. First, the investor, the professional, the self-employed. And you're provided that occupation permit to live and work in Mauritius. So who is an investor? An investor is a person investing at least 50,000 USD in his business activity. That business activity should generate at least 4 million rupees per annum. And as from the 3rd year of operation, contrary to the past where you start, when you have your occupation permit, you need to have your business activity on. Now, for the first 3 years, you may set up your business, but your assessment will be based as from the 3rd year of operation, where you will have to generate at least 4 million rupees. So if you are a self-employed, you're not an investor, you are a self-employed. Your activity is in the services sector only, and you intend to apply for an occupation permit, then your initial investment in that venture should be at least 35,000 USD. Your minimum business income should be 800,000 rupees per year, again, as from the 3rd year of registration with the Economic Development Board. As a professional also, you are provided with an occupation permit. You need to have a contract of employment with a company. If your contract of employment is with an ICT, an information and communication technology company, ICT company, a business process outsourcing company, BPO, a pharmaceutical manufacturing or food processing company, your monthly income should be at least 30,000 rupees. And for other sectors, if you have a contract of employment with other sector, again, here, your basic monthly salary should be 60,000 rupees. The occupation permit as a professional is provided for a period of 10 years. Previously, it was tagged to the contract of employment, but today, even if you have a contract of employment for 4 years, you have an occupation permit as a professional for 10 years. And these measures were announced in the last budget and will be implemented in the coming weeks with the promulgation of the Finance Act. Then we have the family occupation permit, again a new budget measure, where as a non-citizen, you have the option to apply through the ADB for a family occupation permit. The family occupation permit allows an applicant, his spouse, dependent child, parent, and other dependents, that is, person working exclusively for the family unit, they may become a resident for a period of 10 years. So this is a new measure that has been announced and all the processes are being set up. The family occupation permit allows the applicant, his spouse, to take up employment in Mauritius and to benefit from the family occupation permit. The criteria is for the applicant to make a contribution of 250,000 USD to the COVID-19 Project Development Fund. So again, for someone to benefit from the family occupation permit, which will be granted to the family and those working for the family, immediate family, you need to make a contribution of 250,000 USD to the COVID-19 Project Development Fund. Then you have the permanent residence permit, that also, next slide, where you can come and obtain residency. So what is a permanent residence permit? It's provided to investors, to professionals, to self-employed, retired non-citizen, and this permit is provided for a period of 20 years. It is granted to an investor investing at least 375,000 USD in a qualifying business activity. It is granted to the holder of an occupation permit as an investor who has generated an annual gross income above 50 million rupees for 3 years preceding his application. Or it is granted to a professional after 3 years of being employed in Mauritius, and that professional monthly basic salary has been at least 150,000 rupees for 3 consecutive years. That individual is provided with a permanent residence permit. And a self-employed is also eligible for a permanent residence permit after 3 years, where the annual business income of that self-employed is at least 3 million rupees for 3 consecutive years, and this is 3 years preceding his application. Next slide. And the last one, the premium visa, where you can come and reside in Mauritius for premium visa. Next slide. So a non-citizen can come in Mauritius and work remotely, enjoy the unique lifestyle in Mauritius. Actually, a non-citizen had the possibility, without having a residence permit, a permanent residence permit or an occupation permit, to come to Mauritius. And a business visa was being provided for a period of 120 days, or a tourist visa for a period of 180 days. But if that non-citizen intends to reside in Mauritius for more than 180 days, more than 6 months, today, without the need to apply for an occupation permit, residence permit, for a permanent residence permit, that non-citizen can apply for a premium visa. The premium visa is granted for 1 year and is renewable. You may apply for a premium visa if you're a tourist, you're a retiree, you're a professional, you're a digital nomad, just by going on the website of EDB. You need to show as an adult that you will be transferring each month 1,500 USD, and for a child, 500 USD. You need to show insurance cover, and then you have to follow all the protocols. In terms of taxation policy for premium visa, which has been announced in the last budget, the holder of a premium visa is spending 183 days or more in Mauritius is subject to income tax as follows. First, the money spent in Mauritius through the use of credit card or debit card by the holder of a premium visa will not be liable to tax. The income brought and deposited in a bank account in Mauritius will be liable to tax, except if a declaration is made by the holder of the premium visa that the required tax has been paid in his country of origin or residence. So if the tax has been paid in the country of origin or residence, and if there is a declaration to that effect, there is no need to pay the tax in Mauritius. And in terms of benefit, premium visa, the children can come and enroll in a private school in Mauritius, and you can also acquire a residential property in Mauritius. In terms of the opening of borders, next slide, please. As I said, Mauritius is open to international travelers. Next slide. The island is opening in phases, and the first phase from 15th of July to 30th of September 2021, vaccinated travelers can come to Mauritius in a resort holiday on the island, the Bubble Resort. They can come, they stay in those resorts. Travelers to Mauritius age 18 years or above to stay in and who are vaccinated, they can come and stay in those Bubble Resort. They must go a PCR test between 5 and 7 days before departure. An indicative result is required to travel to the island. Travelers will also have a PCR test on arrival at the airport in Mauritius and on the 7 and 14 day of the resort holiday. And then after that, if it is negative, they can go roam around in Mauritius. Non-vaccinated, they will have to go and spend 14 days quarantine. For phase 2, from the 1st of October 2021, vaccinated travelers will be allowed entry without restriction upon presentation of a negative PCR test taken 72 hours before their departure to Mauritius. Also to tell you that special flights are being put from South Africa to Mauritius, and the next flight is scheduled this Friday, the 23rd. If you are interested to travel to Mauritius, just drop us an email and we'll be doing needful. We'll correspond to you and provide you detail on the next flight that will be put directly from South Africa to Mauritius. You can send us an email on hpd@edbmauritius.org, and then we'll provide you with all the details. Or you can also visit the website of Air Mauritius, where you can see when we have the next flight directly from South Africa to Mauritius. Next slide. So these are the protocols that have been put in place for vaccinated and non-vaccinated travelers. Next slide. Just to conclude, I may say that there are various investment opportunities in Mauritius. Despite the global economic downturn, we are attracting investors, investment. We are putting all the protocols to ensure that you have all the facilities in place. New sectors or new infrastructure that are being put in place. There are various incentives that are being provided and that have been announced in the last budget speech. We are making it easier for investors, for those who may retire in Mauritius, to come by providing all the support services. We are also liaising with all the authorities to ensure that you have your permits, your licenses once you're in Mauritius, so that you may start your business activities. And you have the right condition to conduct your business, to invest, to work, and enjoy a high quality of life. The ADB, we welcome investment, we welcome investors, we embrace businesses. The ADB, we operate under the Ministry of Finance. We are a promotion and economic development agency. We are here to assist investors, make your investment decision-making, and help you in getting all the information that you require. Should you be requiring any information, please email us. We'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sachin. We really appreciate all that information. Folks, this webinar is recorded. There was a lot of information shared, especially around all the new opportunities that the new budget will offer South Africans from an investment and immigration perspective. The team are still with us, so please continue to ask your questions. Now that we have an understanding of the different categories of that is required when it comes to, should you wish to buy a unit on the island or rent a unit on the island, whichever permit you decide to go for, we've asked Rinie from Two Futures to join us. Two Futures is one of the largest property developers on the island, and they've got a smorgasbord of opportunities to choose from, ranging in different price categories. So let me hand over to yourself. Thank you again, Sachin. And let me hand over to yourself, Rinie, and maybe you can just run through a little bit of what Two Futures is doing currently in the market.
Thank you, Louise, and good morning to the viewers in South Africa. My name is Rinie Boshoff, and our family have been moving from South Africa to Mauritius 4.5 years ago. We're originally from Belita, KwaZulu-Natal area. And like you, I can relate of what you are thinking and the process that you're taking to be able to make yourself ready for the questions you wanted to ask to move to Mauritius. Next slide, please. I'm fortunate to work for one of the biggest property developers here in Mauritius. Two Futures was established in 2007. Two Futures have a big track record, and we've delivered over 800 luxury homes and offices under construction or delivered. Our purpose is to deliver top quality projects offering exceptional lifestyle with a variety of different developments. Next slide, please. As indicated by this map, for the last 14 years, Two Futures have a footprint that extends across the whole island, but we mainly focus on areas like the north, which is the Grand Bay area, and the west, which is Black River and Tamarin area. Next slide, please. We have a variety of different projects. For example, we've got 2 beach residences starting as from 2.9 million Rand. We sell our properties in US dollars, but for the purpose of today, I will also explain to you the Rand value. This is an ideal project, especially for retirees, because we've got properties from 2.9 million Rand. We also have key resort apartments that's under construction and starting at 3.9 million Rand. That key resort will be finished in 2022, the first phase. We also have a second phase, which will be complete at the end of 2023. And we've just launched our new development called The Essence in Trua Beach area, and they are starting from 6.7 million Rand. We offer a payment plan on selective units with deposits as little as 146,000 Rand. We also offer rental management services to all our developments with a bank completion guarantee, also known as the GFA when you purchase off plan. We have 10-year external building construction guarantees and 2-year internal warranties. Two Futures also assist with the permanent residency application from start to finish. Next slide, please. The Résidence de Mont is a result of an exclusive partnership between Ajit Demitis, the leader in service residence for seniors in France, Two Futures, and the investment arm of Mauritius Commercial Bank. That's also the project that I will give you a little bit more information about today, because this is an ideal project for retirees and people over 50 years old. Now we will play the lifestyle video.
When I go walking
Great. Next slide. Next slide. This boutique development is complete, and we have a 2 and 3 bedroom configuration designed with a luxury hotel lifestyle in mind, with views of Point de Meer from the top floor. All ground floor apartments have a splunge pool, access to the one level with stairs or lifts. Buyers get permanent residency immediately, and suitable for swallow living, business people living on the island part-time, or people over 50 years old. The 2 bedrooms are 137 square meters and ranging from 8.4 million rand. And we also have the 3 bedroom, 182 square meters ranging from 9.2 million rand. Next slide, please. From a location point of view, it's in the heart of the smart city on the new Mont Boulevard Road. It's a short drive to the beach near the 18-hole golf course of Mont. The new hospital is coming up next door. We also have a lovely neighborhood shopping mall, which is La Croisette in the Grand Bay area, and also Mont Mall, which is walking distance to coffee shops, restaurants, and pharmacy. All added investment values for a great capital growth. Next slide, please. Le Résidence de Montjazzy is also on the same premises as Le Domaine de Grand Bay, and together they offer great facilities. You literally don't have to leave your premises. The wellness center includes indoor and outdoor swimming pool, fitness room, hammam, sauna, spa, and hairdresser, as you can see from the video. It's got an aqua gym, gym classes, fitness courses, a creative studio for the more creative type. They've got restaurants and bars, concierge services, taxi services, 24-hour gated security, and also for clients who are seeking for a nurse on board, you get a watch that you can rent for on a monthly service. In case you have an emergency, you just press a button and the nurse will come to your unit. Next slide, please. So that's just in a nutshell the offering that Two Features can offer you. If we have a bundle of different projects ranging from 200,000 US dollars, in the equivalent to rands, it's 2.9 million rand. If you have any other questions, you can always just pop me an email and I will be happy to assist you through that. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you so much, Rinie. Thank you. There's a number of questions coming up in the chat box, and perhaps you could, yourself and your team could have a look at that, where the question is, if you're buying a unit of 200,000 or below, does that open you up to any type of occupancy, residency type permit? What does that allow you to do on the island? And then again, there's questions coming in around the returns if you do buy multiple units and you rent them out through a rental program. What type of returns are you looking at, and where does that value lie? So if you could perhaps address those questions. Now, moving to the island and relocating and all of that comes down to what do we do with our funds? So SBM Private Wealth are one of the many banks, one of the banks that Sachin mentioned. They also work with a number of property developers. So there are interesting financing models that work with them. Ladies, I'm going to hand straight over to you. If Julie, you could pop their presentation on, and let's just have a look at the process of opening a bank account and understanding the financial sector within the Mauritian environment.
Thank you, Louise. Good afternoon, everybody, and all the viewers. I'm Reshma Ramdoyal, Relationship Manager at SBM Bank, Private Wealth. I'm currently managing a portfolio of high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals who are based locally and abroad. It's been a pleasure to collaborate, first of all, with Estate Living, and we are here to showcase how we can assist foreigners to open account and avail the different products and services. Many of you will be thinking that opening an account when you are not in the country is a headache, but we are here to make it simple, quick, and as easy as ABC. As you rightly pointed out at the start, that nothing can be done without a bank account. So let's see what SBM Bank has to offer. Next slide, please. A quick introduction on SBM Bank. Established in 1973, SBM has a strong franchise in Mauritius. It is even listed on the Stock Exchange of Mauritius since June 1995 and is the third largest on the Stock Exchange Mauritius. It has a strong total assets of 5.6 billion USD and it's engaged in banking, non-banking financial services, and non-financial investment. Next slide, please. Being a local bank, we are not only present in Mauritius, but we are also present in Madagascar, India, and Kenya. I wish to point out here that we are having around 52 branches in Kenya. Next slide, please. SBM caters for the need of individual and institutional customers. We are not only a traditional bank, retail bank, providing only products and services banking, but we are also a one-stop shop with a wide range of products and services under one roof. We have renowned expertise in private banking and wealth management, personal banking, SME, corporate banking, institutional banking, international banking, treasury services, stockbroking platform, to name a few. What does SBM Private Wealth has to offer? We are here to tailor-make all your financial requirements and present in a very suitable package to you. Our aim is to enrich client capabilities by providing access to private wealth entire service offering, starting from wealth planning, wealth management, e-platform, debit card and credit cards to access your funds anytime, anywhere around the world, Lombard lending, real estate financing, which I'm going to elaborate more on our next slide. Next slide, please. When we talk about tailored financing services, we wish to point out here that we have personal financing services in MUR, USD, euros at a very competitive rate. We finance real estate projects both locally and internationally. It can be in terms of residential mortgages, construction projects, investment properties, and refinancing. Let's say the question and answers how foreigners can avail the financing solution with SBM Bank. Who can benefit from the loan financing solution? It's not only available to Mauritians, but also foreigners residing in Mauritius, foreigners residing abroad, and they can choose from Mauritian rupee, USD, GBP, euros as currencies. What is the percentage of financing? We can finance as from 50% and we can go up to 70%. The remaining is the client own contribution. Tenors can be very flexible. Client can choose from 5 to 10 years and can be even extended to 15 years. It depends on the client what they want to, depending on the requirements and need. At what stage can he apply for the loan? If the client comes in Mauritius, spots a property, falls in love with property and says, yes, this is what I want, and I want to go straight away, he can choose his relationship manager at SBM and ask him exactly what is the amount that we can finance. The loan process, it may be cumbersome for certain, but we are here to make it easy, as I said earlier. Normally, the process can be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the documents that have been provided. If the documents that have been requested are in place, it's very easy. The loan disbursement also is a smooth procedure. It is done upon the call of funds and schedule of payment as requested by the promoter. What are the securities that we take? Is the property itself that is going to be purchased in Mauritius or cash-based collateral? Other condition that we might have for financing is having a life insurance which covers death and total permanent disability, building insurance. We also offer insurance covers, and the client can write you have code in-house with SBM. When we come to documents, it's always a headache when thinking of documents, but we have very easy and quickly available documents like passport, latest proof of address, payslip, bank statement, credit report that we request from customer to start the procedures. All documents that should be submitted to the bank should be certified by professional, either from lawyers or accountants. This is all from me right now, and I will pass on to my colleague Neelam, who is going to explore more on the other side of the bank.
Thank you, Reshma. I would like to show to you the quintessential ways in which SBM Private Wealth can help enhance or sustain your lifestyle in Mauritius. Reshma, if you were to come to settle in Mauritius, what would be your #1 priority?
Maybe having a property itself in Mauritius.
Next slide, please. So your #1 priority is to look for your new home on the island. We have partnerships with 2 Futures, One and Only Villas and Seed Properties in order to give you the most luxurious and prestigious properties on the island. We do so by tie-ups, GFAs, and term loans. You will see on the screen our target markets, which are expatriates, people looking for a second vacation home, or high net worth individual looking to invest in Mauritius. So, Reshma, what do you think about this one?
It's very lovely.
And what about this one?
Lovely.
This is another property in the vibrant north of Mauritius. We invite you to contact 2 Futures for other such amazing properties, which we will collaborate to finance for you. Next slide. Now, what will you get with such tie-ups that we have with the properties? Unfortunately, when you take a loan, you have to pay fees. That's very sad, but we give you discounts of up to 50% on your legal and processing fees. You get to furnish your new house with discounts from our preferred housing partners when you buy with them. Additional benefits are pre-approved credit cards, waiver on the first year for yourself and your supplementary card. In case you get bulk payments, you get to refinance your loan earlier with no penalty. Also, we give you a moratorium period of 2 years on capital repayment. Next slide. Now, when I say luxury product in banking, you see a beautiful watch. What do you think we're offering here?
Top-notch products and services.
Spot on. Next slide, please. We provide cutting-edge banking facilities with fast-track approval and express disbursement, and you will have your favorite relationship manager always giving you a constant and realistic update. Now, we have a very premium MasterCard, World Elite card, where you'll get unlimited access to VIP lounges worldwide. You get free upgrades in hotels, airline, discounts in shopping festival, and other luxurious services. Now, Reshma, you're a private wealth client. What do you expect from me as your relationship manager?
Dedicated service, personalized service, quick around, like very, very fast.
Exactly.
Service.
So the service we provide is a personalized round-the-clock service. We have implemented the Swiss banking standard at SBM Private Wealth. While we attend to your family members, we respect our oath of confidentiality that we have made to you. We are in a very beautiful lounge right now, and we invite you to come visit us here for all your business meetings. We assure you, you won't find any other as beautiful banking lounge on the island. Now, in terms of networking, we invite you and your spouse to dinners, golf tournaments, wine tasting event where you get to network with other clients like yourself, but also you get to market yourself, your services, your products. Now, we have recently introduced concierge services where with one click, you get to book a restaurant, a hotel. If you're tired, just book a spa or even an international experience. We have extended this to, with a click, to book for a lawyer or notary. So everything, you just go through us and it will be done for you. Now, all of these amazing benefits that we offer is your eligibility for it will be as from $300,000 US or a monthly income of $10,000 per month. Thank you. Over to you, Louise.
Thank you so much, ladies. So many additional benefits, and also interesting the relationships that you have with existing property developers in the country that can help when it comes to financing a product or looking for added benefits when it comes to financing those products. We've had a number of questions that have come up in the chat room today, and I fear to even start looking at. I thank you to the people that are on the back end that are answering them. One that has just stood out to me, which we didn't cover, is the medical aids. That's obviously a big thing here in South Africa. We do obviously lots of individuals make use of medical aids, and it can get quite pricey. I did see the EDB did comment on that, saying that the medical facilities within the island are of high standard, and that the hospitals are, most people are using the hospitals as they currently are, but there are medical aids that you can research and select. I also just wanted to quickly touch on the schooling system. There is the international schooling system in the Mauritius. So if you have got children that are you wanting to bring across, I know that Rinie's kids are in the British system in Mauritius. We did do the maths. The school fees are very similar to that of a private school here in South Africa. So you're, depending on which school you are at, you're looking at just over, I think we worked out around 12,000 Rand per month, but depending on the structure in which you pay. And obviously there are a variety of schools, but that is the the British curriculum school here in South Africa compared to the British curriculum school in Mauritius, both obviously of high standard. So there are universities, world-class universities, new hospitals coming up. So there's really a lot to offer folks that are looking at this as a destination. Please feel free, this webinar has been recorded, so you will be able to access this content at your leisure. Please feel free to contact anyone on the panel or send me your details, and I will connect you to anyone on the panel for more information. And thank you so much for joining us today and doing this research and exploring your option. Mauritius is a beautiful, beautiful island, and I look forward to visiting soon. Just got to get that vaccination in place. Anyway, take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.